Are we back? Aye. Looks like we are back. And I think it's still working. Yep. Okay. Oh, the joys of live streaming with YouTube. Wonderful. Welcome back, chat. Welcome back. Okay. We have a hex, 2mm hex, holding this last one in. That's kind of interesting. I wonder if there's some special engineering secret with a beautiful little trim washer. Look at that. So I lift this guy up, move him out of the way, and what do we have holding this in now? Shouldn't be anything. Oh, yep, of course, the keyboard. Bye, Mr. Pashchen. Delayed audio again? That's sweet. Awesome. I could try popping it out of the camera and then putting it into the computer directly, but that just... How on earth would it being fed from the HDMI... Use AI. Like, ask this question. Right now, audio is going from my microphone into the camera where it's mixed perfectly, and then I'm outputting audio and video over HDMI through the capture card. Why is there a delay? I think it has to do with it being an HDMI capture card. Those things are just such a... I guess I do have the Oculink stock, so next time I could like stick a real capture card, a PCI Express capture card in, a professional one, and not have to deal with this kind of thing anymore. Oh, that's funny. Well, nothing to see here anyway. I don't know what to do. We could fight it all day long, but I don't really know what to do about it. I apologize. The so-called PCIe reinforcement bracket is popped off. What a silly marketing gimmick this thing is. It's like tinfoil. Absolutely worthless. It does look pretty though. Did I cut myself? It's so thin and sharp. Come on, you. It's this tiny little, there we go, 1mm clip. It's just in a hard to reach place. Okay, make sure the pins are not too bent. This is a 12th generation Intel embedded chip, like for laptops. It's the Airing Skyline G660 ITX. But check out that heat spreader. Isn't that neat? big, big, huge, giant thing. All right, I don't need anything from here, and I want to keep it like this for when I transplant my new system into this. That includes this good old faithful 1080 Ti. We will set down there, and I will clean off this heat spreader. Hey, thank you, Spready. That's really cool of you to tell us that story. And Mr. Papa Labman, thank you very much for your very generous donation to my silliness here. ChatGPT says plug the mic into the PC directly. Press X to doubt. I could do that, but then you guys would have to wait a little bit longer. You'd also have to like unplug your audio equipment so you don't become deaf as it screams at you. Pops and hisses. Oop. This one is a 2.5 custom heatsink mounted solution. I like it. Custom standoffs. I love adapting old water cooling gear just to work, especially when you don't have the hardware. It's just fun. This is actually really well done, Gabriel. Good job. Perfect amount of spacing. I liked those nylon washers that you made. Papa Lab Man, guess what? That is for sale right now, that exact one in the NFC Discord. Somebody has it, the owner Miller wants to use it to fund some other projects. So if you want it, go get it. I thought the price was very reasonable. You basically get all that work for the price of the GPU, so... Peanut Butter says, does a larger heat spreader have any effect on thermals compared to standard desktop CPU IHS? Well, I'm going to say yes, just because I'm going to throw a little bit of shade. Intel, look, are their new IHSs any better? They've been really bad, I feel like, since 10th gen. So, I would say it's hard to de-improve it, but... you never know. This is a very efficient chip, though. It's a laptop chip, low wattage chip. I don't know. I say more is better. Why not? All right, I'm going to be smart for once. And I'm going to put these in a little baggie. Gabe already figured it out for me, so I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm just going to use that over again. Oh, I said this video is not sponsored, and it's not, but I do want to do a product shout out. Dude, my wife got me these for Father's Day, maybe last year. They're called crocodile cloth. Go get them. It's like a baby wipe, like a hand wipe, you know, and a shop towel together, but they're huge. And I use them for everything, but the best thing that they're good at is getting off the gunk off of your heat sinks and stuff. Really cool product. And because it's like meant for your hands too, unlike alcohol and a wipe, it doesn't dry them out. All right, what do we have here for RAM? I've already forgotten. 3600 megahertz, DDR4, 16 gigabytes. More than enough for a World of Warcraft classic. We probably have to install the cooler first, huh? Before we even begin to worry about that. So I'm going to see if this guy has all its pieces, its Reese's pieces. I did lose a screw, those silver ones I think, but those are going in the trash anyway. Thank you though. Ugh. White. Okay, let's see if the hardware works before getting too ahead of myself. Worst, let's see if I embarrass myself in front of the entire 6 people on the stream. And figure how to put this on. That goes on back there. Oh man. The SSD is in a weird spot and I can't put the bracket on. So luckily this thing has more. 3 total? Wow, this board's pretty cool. Tiny screwdriver. They all are labeled the same. PCI 4.04x. Oh no, this one's 3.04x. Okay, okay. Nice labeling too. Don't have to go find a manual. I love it. As far as the thermal paste that we're going to be using, it's going to be PTM 7950 by Honeywell. Okay, that fits. Now let's see what this does. Does this line up? Much better. Still kind of weird though, like the 1700 hole spacing in this cooler kind of bumps up against the screws. I think it's because the screws aren't countersunk. They have little springs on them to mount to that giant silver IHS. But I think it will still work. I just need to get the holes through it. So let's do that. Alright, I hate this so much. Bags and bags of rusted hardware. I've had this outside in the garage for years and years and years. No big loss if I have to toss it, but... And there's like flat bottom ones too? Okay, that's not the right one. That's not going to be the right one. Much better. Nope. I'm gonna get you to fit, even if I have to glue you in here. kind of weird that the spacing is could work in either spacing set. It just would be slightly off kilter. Kind of weird. I know they want to get their costs down, but I don't think it would kill them to make 2 different brackets for this. Wow. Come on. Come on. And then I guess I thread these standoffs on. I think that makes sense. And then I pop the cooler. I pop this onto the cooler, and then I bolt this down with the knobs. It's like Han Solo. It'll work. Burr, burr, burr. Last one. Okay, this is so sketch. It is so sketch, but as long as it fits over here. How big are those standoffs? Oof. So the issue is the back plate interferes with the IHS screws, so it's bowing out pretty big. But that doesn't really matter for this, so I'm not going to stress out too much. The posts are like all skewed, but as long as this will bolt on and I can thread them on, we'll be okay. So let's do a test run here. It's going to be this guy. So far, so good. And does it go on? Get on there, you. I have a hard time believing that the stock orientation for this is 45 degrees. Okay, so here's the arrow there, here's the arrow there. Yeah, okay. Duh. And then I get much better. Only I had like an angle grinder right here. Okay, it does fit. It does indeed fit. So I'm going to put my PTM 7950 wherever I stored it. Where did I put it? Here it is. Looking for my good scissors. Cool. Now if I used it on that huge IHS, it'd be a huge waste, so I'm just going to cut a little square out, put it here. It's going to be plain World of Warcraft Classic, so I'm not too concerned about it. Wow, it's crazy how much I have to use for this teeny tiny little chiplet. Because I'm not exactly sure where the center is. FYI too, I would never do this on a performance system. Like what I just did right there. I would use tweezers because you don't want to touch the back side of this stuff. That's where that goes. And use my X-Acto knife to peel it up. Yep. Have I heard of the CompuLab lineup of passive compact desktops? It'd be cool for you guys to design a spiritual successor. Thank you. Fun is 3D Blacksmith. Actually, I have not. I apologize. I will look at it and see. If nothing else, it could be an interesting 3D print project. All right, so how do I want to put this guy? This is going to be like here. No. It's going to be like this. And this is going to go up. So I need to mount this up. But the board's upside down. Okay. Okay, that's on there. And hopefully these nuts hold. They do. That was not too bad at all, except for the fact that they're rusted. CPU fan plugged in. Squish this wire down. And we need the good screwdriver. Where are you? The big boy. And we just fold that back bracket, baby, right over the back plate. Very bad advice for most systems. But that's the cool thing about this is that, again, this is an embedded chip. There's no socket. So there's not really any concern with me squishing the CPU into the pins. I did do that on one of my early liquid-cooled AIO builds. It was an Intel 7000 series, I think. And I squished it into the... That was when Intel switched over to the really, really thin wafers too, and I just broke it. Very sad day. This smells awful. I cannot express how awful it smells. It's not like a organic smell, so that's good. Otherwise, it would not be going in this computer. It is a industrial smell. Alright, throw all this in here. I'm throwing this in the trash. I'm not keeping anything about this. Once this comes off this build, it is going in the trash. If you're wondering why it's white, I'm also wondering why it's white. It just, I didn't know. I didn't know it was white. Yes, that's a great question, Mr. TJ. For normal socketed builds, I would never use a screwdriver on a CPU cooler. Never, 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 never. If for this kind of design where it compresses onto your IHS, that is a very bad idea. I would use it to get started, you know, spin it like that. But once it got down, I hand tighten. And not just that, I don't just hand tighten it, even in a star pattern. I watch the board. I look at the board while I'm hand tightening it to make sure that I'm not making the board fold or bend, because they will very easily do that. This, very low stakes. If I break this board, it will be sad because, you know, I like it. I like it, and it wouldn't really hold. It's not very, very, very ridiculously expensive like you would be buying a brand new AM5 board with a X3 heat chip. And again, it's a soldered on chip, so there's no socket to break. Okay, this box, by the way, this is the 9060 XT box from Sapphire. It is pretty darn sturdy. I also like how it's not like huge compared to the card. I just don't like that. I want the boxes to be as small as possible, but I think that it's pretty good considering how hefty this card is. Speaking of which, I have a video I made comparing the two aesthetically for Sapphire. That was the first video I did with it. And the 9070 XT is on a totally different planet as far as build quality. They were like, okay, NVIDIA Founders Edition cards, those are made really, really, really well. We want to do something like that. And that's what the 9070 XT is. It is a piece of artwork. This is like the highest end cards from the last couple generations. They've really just stepped up their manufacturing game, and I really like it, but it's not the same kind of level. It's mostly, for people who don't know, haven't held it yet, it's mostly plastic. The back is all metal. It has a metal frame holding all the fins together on the center, which gives the heatsink itself a really good rigidity. So if you were taking off or modding it, it would be pretty strong. What I really, really, really like about this design, which is really clever about this design, obviously some standard stuff like pretty much almost 45% blow through. But what's really, really clever is that the fans are mounted to the cover, the shroud. And they're mounted in such a way that they almost totally are free to blow into the heatsink. Normally when you see how heatsinks are put together on graphics cards, there's like a metal bar that goes across and holds the fan or makes it strong around where the fans go down, but that's just going to end up taking away your static pressure right from your fan blades. Not so. Like I'm looking at the edge, the strongest place where static pressure is on these fans, and they go right to the heatsink. It's really cool, really well designed. Also, what's really neat about Sapphire cards too, I'm kind of concerned about doing this on camera because I'm gonna mess it up if I do it on camera. But let's do it anyway. The 9070 XT features a really good screw system for removing these fans. The 9060 XT no, it's fine. Okay, weird. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't even know what I'm doing for stuff I know what I'm doing. But I have no idea what happened. Anyways, swappable PCB. So I've actually never had a Sapphire fan fail. I have had other manufacturers' fans fail. But that's kind of cool. Now, what is nice, though, is that you can easily clean it. You don't have to take everything apart to do it. But if you wanted to as well, this thing comes apart so ridiculously well if it's like the 9070 XT. You unscrew these bolts right there, that pops off, and then the shroud actually unfolds. So I'm not sure if that's how this card works, but that's definitely how I've taken apart the 9070 XT. We can find out. Why not? This is also very nice. They have captured brass studs, so it's not cutting into plastic. One, two, three, four, five. I'm interested to see if the 9060 XT works the same way. It looks like it does not. There seems to be 1, 2, 3. Let's just undo these posts, see what happens. So this is kind of more standard fare. With the 9070 XT, you're good to go at that point. You take that off, it kind of releases, and then you can fold the cover over. Really neat. Which you might say, well, why do I need to do that? Well, I'm not an animal, and I like to clean my graphics card fins from time to time, so I'm sure that you guys do too. Okay, there, and it's the back. It's these guys. This one too. How do you press in all these little teeny tiny nutserts? Like, what machine does that? But that's what I'm talking about with the shroud and the direct access to the edges of the fan to the heatsink. Really nice looking heatsink. Neat and tidy. We'll line that back up. Can we get it back together pretty easy? Yep. Clicks in pretty well. I'll do the back last since it'll be easier just to screw this in like so. I know that this one was, no, it was this one goes front right because it had some thread locker on it. I didn't see any stickers saying warranty void if removed either, so nice job, Sapphire, being kind to your customers. That's a long one, apparently. I don't need to measure the PCB. It's 140 to the center, so that's 150, 60. It's under 165 millimeters long. But if I need to measure it, I could easily measure it from here to there. I would do it, but the problem is I'm actually shooting backwards and my mat is backwards, so I don't really... Yeah, I would say about 165, possibly 170. Okay, I think I see what happened. Is going on here. I don't want to stop streaming. Maybe if I power the camera off, let's see what happens. All right, 1 second. There we go. Is the chat the latest chat? I probably should have brought the mouse over. Under the table again. That's not good. Nope, 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 stop. If somebody wants to type anything in the chat to make sure I still have you, that'd be awesome. I figured out why the camera was doing no signal though. So apparently it will idle for, I don't know, I have it set up, what, maybe 10 minutes at a time or something like that, I don't know. And then it will go to sleep because right now it's just outputting HDMI like to a live monitor. I could hit record on the camera, but I'll probably do that next time I come out and see if that cuts the video. I'm hoping that it will still output video while recording. And that'll be a nice quick solution. And then next time I'll just set it to never go to sleep. All right, card is back together again. And I don't have to worry that I made bad contact with thermal paste or anything because I didn't mess with any of that. Now for the fan screw. I think I know why they use plastic threads on the fans on this, but captured nutserts everywhere else. And that's probably because the vibrations would loosen it up possibly. But they do it that way on the other one, so. Do I still have you, chat? I have no idea. I guess I can't see you anymore. I guess, Gabriel, you could say something here in the Discord, but I'll pop out and see real quick. The joys of live streaming. It's working, I guess. I just want to be able to say stuff if you have questions. Okay. So, oh, here's something that's kind of neat about this case. Which is going to be a showstopper if I don't find it. I gotta find the top. Ugh. Where did I put you? Here it is. This is pretty neat. So there's a quick release. Okay, I think I'm recording now. So that's not going to happen again. So that's a neat feature. I really like that. I think I'm going to put the CPU in first, and then I'll worry about the top. Power supply bracket. A temporary wire tie holding the PCIe riser, and another one holding all the front power cables. All right. I'm going to keep the I/O shield. It's going to go like this, right? Yep. Pop this guy in there. Who else puts motherboards in forgetting about the I/O cover and has to redo everything? Not today. One thing, I kind of wish they used a zip tie instead of this temporary wire tie for that power cable, because I do think it's in a good spot for reusing. I'm not even going to bother to take it out. Motherboard fits really good. It went in there too. I was kind of curious how I was going to slide in with that power supply bracket kind of sort of in the way. Hi, Icky. Trust me, the beard grows back so fast. That's like my superpower. I can grow hair from my head. And toenails. Power supply. Motherboard. More power supply. Thread cutting power supply. Okay, when I'm building for a customer, I use thread locker on the motherboard screws because they come out. But I'm not building for a customer, so I'm not going to do that. I love to see this in case design. This back screw that's closest to the back plane of a computer case, when you're bending the sheet metal, it's kind of annoying to get your screwdriver in there, so I always want to see a little cut so I get my screwdriver straight down, and there is there in this particular case. It's a little attention to detail like that that really makes Fractal Design, and I'm going to commit to it, my favorite large scale case manufacturer today. They do such a good job. Even in the past, like when they first started and they just made really good budget cases that were just no frills. So they've really just always killed it. Although, for the king of budget cases now, Montech, is that how you say it? M-O-N-E-T-X, I don't know. Those cases are, they got to be losing money on them because they're amazing for how inexpensive they are. Fractal is more of a premium brand now. Okay, so I have my HD audio cable, which I never use, but for some reason I'm going to plug it in right now because I just don't want to tuck it anywhere. And this will keep it from going anywhere while I'm figuring out my cable management. So that's plugged in. But I would never ever use that in a build. I'm going to use USB audio. And then I have my front USB ports, which I can't plug in yet because I have to wait until I get my 24 pin. And then the USB-C, so I'll wait on that too. And then my power switch, my power LED, which again, I gotta wait. I gotta put the power supply bracket in. This is kind of neat too. Very simple. I hope it's very simple. Boop, boop, boop. So nice. So nice. Look at that. Beautiful. And everything lines up for the power plug. I kind of think of that thing, and we'll just put that here. This is a Corsair 750 watt power supply. I really like the cables on these too. They're kind of pre-sleeved. I wonder if the audio lagging gets reset every time I turn the camera off. I really hate fighting that thing though. Alright, so we got the power supply bracket. We're going to slide her back in. So easy. So easy. No wrestling, no fighting. Everything is very heavy duty, powder coated. This is me cutting one of the cable ties. It's holding the power supply cable plug, which honestly, if I was intelligent, but me not, me monkey, I would have plugged that in first. But luckily, it's easy to do. And yep, it's on. Everything good. All right, 24 pin next, so we can start plugging stuff in the motherboard. Let's see how this thing gets routed. Very nice. Very, very nice. Everything's just about the right length. that it needs to be. Okay, so I'm going to go for the... I'll go for the front panel header next. So I'm plugging the power switch and the power LEDs. LEDs. Power switch. Now front USB 3.0. Type A. Oh, the motherboard's great. It clicked in there. That's a really well built. I'm used to those cheap headers, which kind of just very vague. And then you end up breaking them off and the pins are just hanging there. This is a nice board. Nice solid click for the USB-C as well. I'll just stick this cable for the HD audio over here for right now. I think that will fit. It's all good. USB-C. USB 3.0. All the right lengths. Very well done. Good job. Good job, Fractal. 8-pin. EPS. How do we want to do this? I'm just going to stick it in and kind of squish it. I'm not really aiming for awards right now. That's kind of weird. Nope. Just was off a little bit. Alright, I need to come against the side of the power supply. So I'm going to route it in this channel down here by the fan. What's cool too, like the frame, it actually has a channel and they're lit. They have like a little bend to them, a slight bend to them for routing cables. That is really a cool idea. I'm sure somebody else has done it before, but all cases need to do that. I need to do that. I don't know how I could do that without special tooling, but... Alright, the CPU, click. Love it. Looks great. Easy. Easy peasy. I'm not going to have to use zip ties, I don't think, to clean this up. I really just hate USB header cables, though. They really need to make different ones. They're so stiff. Would it be nice to have like a right angle one? Of course, then you really couldn't tell which way is going to be which direction. I've never built in a Form T1, so I can't comment on the Form T1. Also for maybe other reasons. Actually, I do need this. Duh, because I need to screw in my radiator. Okay, last thing I need to do is I'm going to take my PCI riser ribbon, pull off the protective cover, and stick it in there. What is that? Like a piece of thermal tape or thermal goo on this fan header? Yeah. It's like a... Got it. It's in there nice and good. No problems. Now we're going to go to the other side. And maybe I can do this for you guys so you can see it better. I'm going to put this here for now. Maybe I'll regret that. We have two fans here at the bottom. I'm going to I'm going to unpull these straps. I'm going to link this one together. I'm trying to figure this out. I would think that you'd want one coming back here, splitting off, and then I could go back around the other way. I'm not sure how they wanted to do this, but everything else is so well thought together that it's probably me. Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. But that does not have to. Does not have to make sense to me. I'm routing the cable behind the case in the back side, this very large channel, which is very generous. I'm caught on something. There you are. I'll leave these dangling for right now. And we're going to drop the graphics card in. Here's a little bracket for the hard drives, the hard drive caddy. And what was cool about this too, like if you're running a water blocked card, I told him to put some screw holes in here which you can adapt, which are here, and then you can put a reservoir, mount a reservoir here. So if I was doing a custom liquid cooled build, I would make an adapter plate, 3D print something, I'd have my pump, and then the reservoir would be right here, and then you'd have a short water blocked card right here. Really, really perfect place for your reservoir. This case makes so much sense for custom water cooling. It really, truly does. My 9060 XT, I said it right, I think. And it doesn't fit putting it straight in, but obviously I can angle it through this giant cutout in the back. The 9070 XT from Sapphire Nitro, the Nitro Plus, does not fit in this case, no matter what you do. I've already tried. Alright, how did I say I was going to do this? I was going to flip it around like this and plop it in there. Before I do that, though, I should plug in the cables for the GPU, which I will do with this guy right here. It's so deeply recessed that if I was really smart, I would have plugged this in beforehand. But me not think, therefore me not am. Not exactly the most friendly angle either for me to do this. These split designs, that's the problem right now. It's one of those split designs, 6+2, but there's no clip on it. So I can't clip it together to go in, so I have to kind of hold it, and there we go. Is it in? It is in. don't think there actually is enough room to hide that wire totally cleanly. There almost is behind the motherboard, but the motherboard uses, looks like 5mm standoffs. Yeah. So I can't get it behind there. But there is a nice little spot on the side of the power supply towards the front to jam in this cable. Cool. That's not too bad looking, but it could be better. All right, so the radiator now. How do I want to do this? I think it will fit like this. I say. This can support 140mm by 2. Okay, there's that. There's that. The question is the fans. I'd like to mount the fans pulling in this particular instance because the tubing is so long that if I put them pushing, I could have a clearance issue. I'm going to close that door. I'm going to cut the camera for a second to see if it resyncs. Yeah, I just don't trust that very well. I just don't trust that. So let's do a pull configuration, which is not how you should ever run fans in a radiator, but I can pop the top off again. Very nice. Can I balance this? Come on, man. Close enough, right? And I need 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30mm screws. Prefer to have he's gonna go straight through. No, barely. But washers would be good. Here's some button heads though. Would those fit better? it's really long. How did I do my math wrong? It's 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Is this not a 30 millimeter? It's not. It's a 35. Okay, well, I found my answer. Yeah, cool. 2, 3, 4. Maybe I'll just do 4. That's how lazy I am. Okay, this is the front. This whole pop-off top thing is just awesome. Nice long slots, so I can adjust it later. Very nice. There's a feature about this case too I think is really neat. I'm fixing to show you guys once I get this on here. Another cool feature, I mean. I appreciate the mods for helping out too. Thanks, guys. Alright, and I can pop it on. Super easy. Look at that. Super duper duper easy. I just wish that the hoses for this weren't super long. And it's funny because like one is way too long and the other one's not long enough, but that's just how things be, right? Okay, I got this pretty much where I want it, so I'm going to screw these down. And I'm going to plug in all the fans together. Okay, I found it. I say if I can find a fan header. There's one. There's two. Well, I probably have to get a Y header, so. Bummer and all that. Using the generous cutout in the back of the case again to squish these fan cables in. Check the fan. Spin the blades for clearance. I gotta wire these two together and use a Y splitter, so I'm gonna go grab the Y splitter really quickly. plug it in. And plug in my radiator fans. You'd have to spend a very long time trying to get this to not look like garbage from the CPU side. Pretty bad. But I just want to get this thing going, so. Yep. Found my air filter slash lid lock. So now it's locked in place. The walnut top, I think it actually goes this way. If you need to remove it, you press on the back and you can get to it. And it's much more free-flowing than the Air one. What is cool about this case, what I want to talk about too, is Gabriel came up with his own idea to do this independently. And this is old news now, you've kind of seen it a bunch of times in different cases, but when I saw this nearly 3 years ago, it might be closer to 4 years ago, the rear spine, the part that the motherboard mounts on, can be adjusted. So you can move it towards the GPU side if you want to have more room for your CPU air cooler, or in this case, because it's an all-in-one, I can move it closer to the CPU side to have more space for my GPU. It looks like there is nearly 30 millimeters to the fan hubs. And I think I can actually get a pair of calipers down to the fan hubs because these holes are so generous. I can. Very nice. .22, and we'll say that the side panel holes are 3 millimeters. So that's 19 millimeters of space to the fan hubs. That's plenty enough to keep things nice and quiet. Some people might not like the rear cutout for the GPU. I actually think it's fine because of how enormous these GPUs are these days. So they kind of cover the slot naturally anyway. But yeah, right now everything's biased towards the CPU as much as possible. See, it's on number 3, which is what we want. But we could put it on number 1 to give ourselves a little more room for a CPU air cooler, which we're not. I think that this case really shines by using the chimney design. It's going to suck in air from the bottom, blow it up the top. I think that's fantastic. Going to cool my RAM down really easily. So this is I agree, this is a very pretty case. It's very well built. I've already said that. Everything feels very premium. The plastics that they use are so dense and so premium feeling. They feel like $1 million. I love this huge rubber pads on the bottom. I love this design on the bottom too, how it's kind of like a V. I mean, everything about this case is gorgeous. The front, where they put the USB headers on, the power button feels like garbage. I'm kind of a snob when it comes to that. Most cases do. But everything else is very nice. Does the lid pop off? Does it fall off? No, it doesn't. So it must have magnets somewhere, very, very weak magnets, which is good. I don't want strong magnets holding it on. It already... It's got to have magnets. It's in there. What a great design. I mean, it really is a great design. I like how you can use the wood top on this. Like the old, that was the one thing about the old one, is even if you built the system right and you had a rear exhausting GPU, you had to suck in air from the top and blow it at the bottom, if I remember correctly, because otherwise it would just bounce against this and you wouldn't be able to exhaust the hot air. I think this will actually work. It's certainly going to work for classic World of Warcraft. I mean, it probably could run off of the BIOS chip in this thing. But yeah, beautiful case. Beautiful case. I'm excited about the 9060 XT. Oh, can you see from the side how the card kind of peeks out from the vents? I mean, I can see it here in my office, but it looks so good. It looks so good. Well, I'm pretty excited. I'm going to set it up now. Like I said, it took 3 hours to set this stupid stream up, and then of course it didn't work for us anyway. So I'm not going to go through powering it on and tuning it right now. I'm going to use my awesome portable NOCN monitor and just do it right here. I appreciate you guys very much. Have a wonderful Saturday, a blessed weekend to y'all, and oh, thanks for sticking through this. Ugh. Thank you again to the super chats. I really appreciate it. And peace.